Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine.
And now, a show for retro movie and TV lovers everywhere. Interviews with some of the biggest stars in showbiz.
It's a big W, I tell you! It's a big W!
Real talk with the Hollywood Kid.
Senator, we're both part of the same hypocrisy. But never think it applies to my family.
With Mike DeStasio.
Can you dig it?
And here's your host, the Hollywood Kid. All right. Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of Real Talk with the Hollywood Kid. I am your host, Mike DeStasio. My guest this morning is a television host and radio icon. He has done more than 60,000 interviews in his 6+ decades in the industry. He's also won 2 prestigious Peabody Awards and is also a member of the Radio Hall of Fame. For 25 years, he was your host on CNN, Larry King Live, where he interviewed celebrities, politicians, world leaders, and many other dignitaries. I am so honored to have him as my guest, the pride of Brooklyn, New York, legendary television and radio host, Mr. Larry King. Larry, thank you so much for taking the time.
Michael, my pleasure. Thanks for the intro.
Larry, I want to take you back to 1957, May 1st, 1957. Marshall Simmons. Do you remember what he said to you that day, and do you remember how that day went?
That was my first day on radio, and Marshall Simmons was the program director of WAHR small station on Miami Beach. A little preface, I always wanted to be on the radio. I dreamed of it when I was 5 years old. I didn't have any other ambition. My father died when I was 9. I didn't go to college. I had a bunch of odd jobs, but in my back of my mind, I always wanted to be on the radio. And finally wound up in Miami on a suggestion of someone and knocked on doors and got hired by this station who said, hang around, and as soon as somebody leaves, we're a small station, you'll get a job. They tested my voice. I'd never spoken in front of a microphone. They hired me and told me 2 days before May 1st that I'll be on starting May 1st. 9 to 12 doing a disc jockey show, and then in the afternoon I would do news and sports. Well, I was so thrilled. I stayed up all weekend. I was living with my uncle.
Wow.
And now it's May 1st, and Marshall Simmons calls me into the office about 8:45. He says, "What are you going on today? Your first time? Good luck." I said, "Thank you." And then he said, "What name are you going to use?" And I said, "Well, my name is Larry Zeiger." And he said, "No, Zeiger won't do. It's too ethnic, and people won't, well, they'll spell it wrong. We got to get another name." And he had the Miami Herald open, the newspaper I would later write a daily column for. And there was an ad for King's Wholesale Liquors. And he said, "Well, why not Larry King?" I said, "Well, sounds okay." I later changed it a year later to Larry King. And we're ready to go on the air. I go in, I got the music cued, and look up at the clock. It's 9 o'clock. I start the record, and Swinging Down the Lane by Les Elgart. And
wow.
The record's playing. I lower the music. I turn on the mic, and nothing comes out. I lower the music, bring up the music. Nothing's coming out. And finally, I'm scared. I'm looking at the clock. I don't know what to say, and nervous. And right before, I said, all of my life I wanted this, and now I can't do it. I've blown the career. And Marshall Simmons kicked open the door to the control room and said, "This is a communications business, damn it, communicate."
Wow.
And I turned on the mic and said, lowered the record, and said, "Good morning, my name is Larry King. That's the first time I've ever said that. I've just been given that name. I'm very nervous. It's my first day on the air. And I've been scared. I've been lowering the record and upping the record, and I don't know what to say." And I even said, Marshall Simmons just kicked open the door and said, "It's a communications business, damn it, communicate." And I have never been nervous again, ever.
Oh, my gosh.
Because I discovered, Michael, the secret of broadcasting that day, which is there's no secret. Just be yourself.
In
If you're yourself, you can't go wrong. I learned it that day, and I was never nervous again. And really, I took the audience into what was happening to me. So if I goofed at all, they would say it's his first day.
Right, exactly.
And, that's been was 60, almost 61 years ago.
And
that's true to this day. I would say the same thing in the same situation.
And that's like the beauty of radio, Larry. I mean, it's like an empty blank canvas where you can just paint it and describe to people, what's going on. And it's a beautiful, canvas, like I said.
Yeah, just be yourself. I can't pretend to be Arthur Godfrey or
right.
anyone else who's famous at the time. So just be yourself with it. When I do a lot of college speaking, I'm humbled all the time by what's happened to me. I never thought this would all happen to me like this. I just wanted to be on the radio. And then to start the first national radio talk show on the network, on Mutual, and then, of course, 25 years at CNN, and now at Aura.tv on the Internet.
Wow.
And was 60 years in May.
My goodness. I want to ask you, Larry, when you were in Miami Beach, Jackie Gleason was a big influence on you early on in your career. Take a little bit of time to tell our audience how that came about.
Jackie Gleason moved his show to Miami Beach, and he moved down from New York. And it was a famous train ride. Oh,
I heard they only stopped for ice.
They stopped. They didn't have any signals on the train. He just said, "Away we go." And at every stop, he would come out on the back of the train, and people would wave, and it was like a 24-hour ride. And he stayed up all night and greeted people at and that's how I met him. Because I flew up from Miami and went down on the train ride. Then the next night was Welcome to Miami, Jackie Gleason, and I was the host. I did a lot of hosting. I do a lot of that, and a lot of public speaking. And so I hosted, and he became a friend. And he was just wonderful to me, and he came on my radio show, came on my television show, got me Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
One night we were talking at his house, and he asked me what was impossible. I said, to get Sinatra to do my radio show. And he said, well, what's his night off? He said, the Fontainebleau. I said, Monday. He says, you got him next Monday. I said, what? Now, Sinatra didn't do interviews.
Right,
he said, no, you got him next Monday.
Right. And
I went on the air that night, and I said, Sinatra will be here next Monday, and it was all nervous and everything. And that Monday night, sure enough, Sinatra showed up.
My goodness.
And he's sitting there, and my first question was, why are you here? He said, well, Jackie Gleason's an old friend, and I was singing in New York, and I had laryngitis on my closing night, and I couldn't go on. I called Jackie and asked him if he'd go on for me. And when he finished, I walked him out to his limousine. I leaned in and I said to Jackie, I owe you one. And now I'm in Miami. I get a call from Jackie, and he said, this is the one. So he returned a favor, and it was Jackie's favor to me, and Sinatra did my show, and he stayed 3 hours.
Wow.
So it's all been it's all been a whirlwind, Michael. I love what I do. I love every day on the air. I appreciate broadcasting.
Well, you are.
I love the microphone. I love the camera. I love the typewriter. They don't have typewriters anymore, but well, I love the whole ball of wax of communicating. There isn't a better job. It isn't even a job.
I love it.
What you're doing right now is not work.
Oh, I love it. It's my passion. I'm actually a letter carrier by trade, believe it or not, and I've been very, very fortunate to interview some over close to 100 celebrities. I book them myself. I produce it. I write all the content and everything, and I love it. It's a passion of mine. And you've been
how long you been doing it?
Almost 4 years. I started out, I walked into a radio station, I delivered the mail, and I says, what do you guys do here? It was a small place. Actually, Howard Stern got his first job there. It was in Newton, Massachusetts. And I said, can I get a show? He says, what do you do? I go, I love movies. And then I just took it from there. And I've been very fortunate, a lot of luck. And you've been a big inspiration of mine. And like I said, I love it. I absolutely love it. I wish I could talk.
That's the only way to treat it, Michael. Just be yourself and keep on doing it.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about CNN, the CNN days, and what I loved about you. Like I said, I'm an old Hollywood guy. I'm the golden age of Hollywood kind of guy, and I remember watching you, not even as a kid, but when somebody like Elizabeth Taylor would pass away or a Paul Newman would pass away, you would always have the old Hollywood columnist James Bacon on to talk about the old days. I loved it.
I was lucky enough to have been at a certain age when I broke in 1957. Everybody came through Miami. So I knew the Paul Newmans and the Elizabeth Taylor, who became a wonderful friend, and Gregory Peck, and I knew all those stars. And when they did pass on, I was on the air, and so I got to interview Bacon, who knew all of them, was a famous writer, and he would have other friends who came on with. We did a lot of memorial shows,
right.
And they still do it. The CNN still calls me when someone famous dies, and they dig up the old tape and run highlights of the interviews I did, because I've crossed so many boundaries. I've been on the air 7 different decades. I'm 84 years old.
God bless you.
I've had a great ride. They're going to have to carry me out. I asked Milton Berle once if he had a plan to retire, and he said, "Retire to what?"
It's true.
I don't know what I would do. So they're going to have to.
Yeah, you'd sit on the couch and you rust. That's what you
take me out. I have a lot of feeling for Boston. Bob Wolf was my first agent.
Yes, Bob Wolf. Yes,
the great Bob Wolf, the first ever sports agent. And I'm still represented by the people who represented me with Bob, Dave Bluen and Bob Sinelli. They still handle my...
I'm their mailman.
You're their mailman.
Imagine that.
So you deliver mail and still do this?
Yeah, I love it, Larry. I'm trying. I'm very passionate. I'm trying. I'm out there swinging the bat. So like I said, this is one of the passions of mine, and like I said, you've been a huge inspiration for me personally. So I'm going
to... that's great. And when the weather is terrible like it's been...
like the blizzard we got here now, you mean?
Yeah, you still deliver mail?
We try. We try. The person that came up with that motto, snow, sleet, or rain, never carried mail before. That I can promise you. So we try our best, and... this is a big deal for me, Larry.
Well, my pleasure, Michael.
And I love you and I have a very mutual friend, Dick Gutman, legendary press agent at Rogers and Cowan. Yeah, I interviewed him, and he had a new book out, and he told me he wasn't too crazy about the way Hollywood today. 1939 would be arguably be the greatest year of movies ever in the history of Hollywood. Why do you think movies lack that glamour like they did with Elizabeth Taylor's and Paul Newman's of the world?
Everything's changed.
Right.
The world has changed. When I started on radio, there was no satellite. There were 3 networks on television. The world changed, and along came satellites, along came the internet. I never thought I'd be seen or heard worldwide. And so all things changed, and movies changed, where you had major studios, and now you got most films are independent and distributed by major studios. The actors are very good. They don't have the major studios backing much, so the publicity is less. And we used to know the actors by their voice.
Right.
You didn't have to see them. You knew it was Humphrey Bogart or Ronald Reagan or... you knew them just by the sound of their voice, and now you don't. But we have some. There are
not really.
Plenty great actors around. I've seen some great. Daniel Day-Lewis is as good an actor as has ever been on a screen anywhere. Al Pacino is a great friend of mine. So many. There's a lot of good. I don't put down movies. I don't put down what's going on. It's just changed. It's just different. We don't have major studios, so we don't have screen magazines, and we don't have black and white pictures at home on our wall like I used to have of movie stars. And everyone dreamed of glowing opening nights and the red carpet. Robert Taylor told me once it was the best life imaginable. But it's changed.
It's changed, yeah, I agree with you.
There's still a lot of good films.
There's still some stuff. I mean, once in a while, there's something piques my interest, but not much. Larry, I want to...
You don't see much?
I don't.
Really?
I don't. I'm a Turner Classics guy. I mean, like I said, I love the old stuff. There's better acting. Everything was better. Directing. The scripts was better. The storyline was great. The arcs were great. Nowadays, there's just too much computers involved, and I want to see people act. I don't want to see a dinosaur or a X-Men or whatever.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that, but there's a lot of good work too.
Right.
All the Money in the World is a great.
Yeah, that's a new one. Another local guy, Mark Wahlberg, who won't come on my show.
Yeah,
Who won't come on my? Well, I can't get on my show.
He's the greatest. You can't get Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, he's a Boston guy. I'm trying, but I get.
I know. What about Donnie's a great guy too.
Donnie's great. Yeah, Donnie. Larry, I want to give you I want to give you some names of some stars, and you give me quick couple of words that briefly describe them.
Sure.
Robin Williams.
What a wonderful guy. So fast. His mind was uncanny. The problem with Robin Williams is he was so fast and so quick, you can't remember anything he said. Because he unlike the great stand-ups like Cosby or Alan King.
Right.
And I do a lot of that when I speak. I like to tell funny stories. Robin Williams was so quick. But he was one of the funniest people to ever be around, and he was always on.
Elizabeth Taylor.
A sweetheart, a great friend, a pal.
Beautiful. Stunning.
And the most giving person you would ever meet. Elizabeth Taylor would give you the last shirt she had.
Wow. Mel Brooks.
Funniest man in the world. I've had more fun with Mel Brooks. More funny times with Mel Brooks. Loved being in his company. He let me watch when they were making the film, the producers. He let me watch the scene where they blow up the theater. Mel is he still is. He's in his 90s.
Wow.
You pass him on the street, he'll say something funny.
Marlon Brando, that famous interview you did with him.
I did Brando twice. Got to be pretty close to him. Had dinner with him. Been at his house.
Wow.
The thing about Brando was so interesting. There was nothing in his house that told you he was an actor. No Oscars. He was interested in architecture. He didn't like to talk about movies. He was a very bright, interesting, involved,
introverted. Don Rickles, my favorite.
Oh, Don. Oh, Donald. I have type 2 diabetes, and Donald had diabetes. I just visited my doctor yesterday, and we were talking about Don's passing. I know Don 50 years. I met him when I was doing a radio show at Pumpernickel's Restaurant on Miami Beach.
Yes.
And he came in dressed as a busboy. And he would walk among the tables and look at people. He was a fat woman. He would say, "You want butter?" My daughter's name is Kaya. It's an old Jewish name. And when she was born, he called me up. He said, her name is Kaya? He says, "Is that a kid or a canoe?" I love Don.
Larry, I want to ask you a question. This has nothing to do with Hollywood, nothing to do with showbiz. I'm going to go off the rail a little bit. You're an incredibly curious person. I want to ask you one quick question, if you can answer real quick. Do you think Oswald acted alone?
I can't answer it quick. I was very involved in that.
Right, that's why I asked.
Garrison very well, and Garrison played tapes for me of guys who were supposed to meet the plane. I've always had my doubts. Jim Bishop was a great friend, and he believed he acted alone, and he wrote a great book about it. There'll always be that curiosity that how could one single nondescript person come back and get a rifle and shoot?
Sorry, I want to get that one in there.
I can't. I'll say things are still open to me.
Okay. All right. I want to sneak that one in there real quick. We got a couple more minutes left, Larry. This has been fantastic for me. I was once watching Dick Cavett, and he was interviewing Robert Mitchum, and it was painful, to say the least.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you too?
I had a tough time with Mitchum.
Yeah, Mitchum's tough.
I loved him as an actor.
Right, right.
He was a put-on as a guest. You know, he would give you one-word answers.
Right, right.
Yep, nope.
Talk
yep,
about the
nope,
movie for a little bit. Oh, I only do the movie because I need the money. You know.
Yeah, I know.
Stuff like that.
What did you think of Robert De Niro? Don't know him.
Yeah, I was going to
see his movies. No, don't watch him.
Right, exactly. People ask me, Mike, why don't you try getting Robert Darin, which is a long shot for me. But I say, I'd love to have him on. Don't get me wrong. I'm a first-generation Italian-American. But have you ever seen...
De Niro's a great guy.
Yeah, his interviews are they're tough.
No, he's gotten better. At the beginning, at first time I interviewed him, he was tough. But the last two times, I've had a lot of fun with him. I did him with in Vegas when he did that movie with Michael Douglas and Kevin Kline and Morgan Freeman, which is a wonderful comedy. And De Niro was great. I had a great time with him. You loosened him up.
Right.
And he can go. He's very funny.
He seems
very funny.
He seems like the kind of guy you get a massage.
And Pacino's a riot.
Yes. He's probably my favorite. He's one of my favorites. Another guy I love to get. Anyways, moving right along.
I can help you. I'll get him for you, Michael. I like him. If any friend of Bob Sinelli's a friend of mine.
I saw your video, Larry, of you congratulating Bobby, and you were right. You were spot on saying you said something like, that's his voice. If you know his voice, that's Bob Sinelli walking down the street.
Right. He looks like he sounds.
Bobby's my favorite. He's my very dear friend of mine. Him and Dave, and they're super, super nice people. And
he's a great man.
They're great people. What else do I want to ask you? Your first interview.
The first famous interview was Bobby Darin.
Wow.
I love Bobby as a singer, and I was doing this show at Pumpernicks, and for the first 2 weeks I was doing it, I was interviewing waiters and visiting businessmen. It was a morning show from 10 to 11 in the morning. And it was a famous deli on Miami Beach. So Bobby Darin was working at the Deauville across the street. He was, like Gleason, he was an insomniac. And so he stayed up a lot, and he just walked in one day. And I didn't book him. And he sat down, we did an hour, walked down Collins Avenue together. I remember him, I said, Bobby, what's the rush? Why are you so, he was very hyper. And very, very, let's go, let's do it. And I said, why are you so up? And he said, because I'm not going to live past 40.
Wow.
I had rickets when I was born, and my lifespan is early, and I'm not going to live that long, and so I want it all now. So he was one of my favorites. I loved him, and when he passed away, I was sad but not shocked.
Real quick, Larry King's favorite food?
Lamb chops.
All right. Larry King's
If I had my last meal, my meal would be Caesar salad, lamb chops with a baked stuffed potato.
Would that be a Nathan? Would that be a Nathan Al's?
Nathan Al's would be the deli, yeah, but I would go to some good the Palm.
How about Musso and Frank's? I heard it's lost a little bit of its glamour. It's getting a little touristy.
Yeah, but it's still a great place.
Yeah,
Musso and Frank's is still a great place.
Real quick, if Mount Rushmore had 4 baseball players to put on it, who would they be?
Stan Musial, Jackie Robinson, Ted Williams. I guess 4 of Joe DiMaggio.
Oh, okay. Wow. I would have might have put Mick on there. The Mick on there.
Who?
Mickey Mantle.
Mantle was very good, but I got to interview Mantle a few times, and he told me that as good as he thought he was, Mays was better. Mays was actually the best all-around baseball player ever was Barry Bonds.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he was some player.
Wow, time flies.
I mean, forget the drugs and all that. Barry Bonds was unbelievable.
Larry, this has been great. I want to ask you one more question, then when unfortunately we got to wrap this up.
Okay.
In your 60 years in the industry, what has surprised you?
The change. The change that goes on. Whoever knew about an internet? Come on, you kidding me?
I know.
Where is the internet, Michael?
You got me.
Will we always need mailmen?
Yeah. Very deep.
Yeah, what's happened to mail? Anybody write a letter anymore?
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, it's the older generation. They're the only ones who they're looking for mail. They're the only ones who see me at the door. The younger
you know
kids.
What I like? I like stamps.
Stamps.
Yeah, stamps.
People ask.
Colorful.
People say to me all the time, "Oh, the price of stamps went up again." I go, "What? Yeah, I know. What's it? 49 cents to send a letter from here to California and get in 3 days? Where else? I wish everything went up like a stamp." You know?
Yeah, they're the best bargain ever.
Ever. Larry,
Michael, I hope to meet you.
I'm going to come out, actually in a couple of months, I'm coming out to L.A. Maybe we could send something up, and Nate Now's on me.
You got it. Call Sinelli. He'll give you my private number. Well, you already have it. Call me.
I'll call you. Can I get you to
Call me when you're coming, Michael. We'll get together.
I would love that.
Okay, I'll see you out here.
Thank you so much, Larry. Bye-bye.
Thanks, mate.
Wow. Legendary icon Larry King. There you have it. My thanks to Larry King for joining me on the show this afternoon. Total icon in the industry, and it's just a big deal for me, guys. If you know me personally, Larry's one of the best in the business, and I pulled a lot of strings, a lot of ropes, a lot of chains to get Larry King on the show because Larry does not do interviews, and he's an absolute gentleman, and I'm so appreciative of his time. So that's it. Real Talk with the Hollywood Kid continues to put the best interviews on the air. I've been called the next Larry King by somebody, so that's a big compliment. Larry told me that off the air, and one of the greats. And there you have it. You won't find that interview anywhere, an interview with Larry King anywhere on the television or on the internet. Only on Real Talk with the Hollywood Kid. We will see you next Saturday right here on AM 1550 WNT.